Welcome back to the Toughest of the Type, the series where we look at trainers of a specific type and see who provides the toughest challenge in their initial battles. And this time around we're looking at the fighting type, so let's see who has all the force of a great typhoon. To start, let's see what's inherently tough about the fighting type itself. Defensively, fighting is weak to flying, psychic, and fairy, and resists bug, rock, and dark. Offensively, fighting is good against normal, ice, rock, dark, and steel, but is resisted by poison, flying, psychic, bug, and fairy. Fighting doesn't really have any special effects like status immunities, but fighting does have the highest attack on average of all types. Prior to the physical special split, all fighting moves were physical. And fun fact about the fighting type prior to Gen 4, every fighting move introduced before the split remained physical. Also, Karate Chop was weirdly normal type in Gen 1. But with all of that covered, let's take a look at the fighting type specialists. We start in Kanto where we meet the very first fighting type specialist, the fighting type expert who's super buff, Bruno, who actually trained other fighting specialists we'll discuss like Brawly. So what led Bruno to being seen as a formidable opponent? In Gen 1 and Fire Red and Leaf Green, his team is 2 Onix, Hitmonchan, Hitmonlee, and Machamp. Yeah, one thing people always talk about with Bruno is his Onix, a Pokemon with a base stat total less than 400, and with an attack stat lower than oddish. So yeah, the Onix just give you free turns to set something up, but admittedly, the rest of his team ain't that great in Gen 1 either. His Hitmonchan has the elemental punches, which in Gen 1 used Hitmonchan's inferior special stat. Up until Gen 4, High Jump Kick only had a power of 85, and Submission isn't much better with only 80 power and accuracy. Fire Red and Leaf Green does improve this team though. This team has better movesets and abilities. Machamp has Guts, making it risky to put a status on him. Let's Go is probably where Bruno's best team is. Now, his team only knows 3 moves and Hitmonchan doesn't have Stab, but one of his Onix was swapped out for Poliwrath, a much better Pokemon than Onix. Finally, we end with Bruno's Gen 2 and Heart Gold and Soul Silver team, in which one of the Onix was swapped for Hitmontop. While Hitmontop's Gen 2 moveset isn't all that great, Machamp now has the newly introduced Cross Chop. Finally, his Gen 4 team has improved movesets, abilities, and the physical special split in regards to Hitmonchan's punches. Plus, Machamp's No Guard ensures they'll never miss an attack. So overall, Bruno is an interesting Elite Four member to say the least. Now we enter Johto for the thickest fighting type specialist. His roaring fists do the talking. Chuck. Chuck really is a thick boy, even his wife calls him chubby, but is he as strong as he is dummy thick? In all of his gym teams, Chuck has Primeape and Poliwrath. In Gen 2, Primeape just has the underwhelming Karate Chop for stab. The real trouble comes with Poliwrath, who has a pretty good moveset. Hypnosis to put you to sleep, Mind Reader to bypass accuracy checks, then Dynamic Punch to fully take advantage of the prior 2 moves. A 100 power move that will confuse the target, which could be pretty annoying if the Sleep Confusion combo goes off. And the remix actually kinda nerfed Chuck in this regard. Sure, Primeape's more of a threat with Double Team and Rock Slide, but now Poliwrath has Focus Punch instead of Dynamic Punch. So in all, Chuck can be surprisingly annoying if his AI allows it. Next we head to Hoenn to meet the most radical fighting type specialist, a big wave in fighting, Brawly, who in the French version of Oras references Lord Helix, saying he found power by staring at a Helix fossil, but does that truly show? Brawly's Ruby, Sapphire, and Oras team is Machop and Makuhita, with both generations having the same movesets and abilities. Bulk up could be a pretty big problem, especially in Gen 3 where all flying moves are physical. Makuhita especially can hit hard with a Bulk Up boosted arm thrust. In Emerald, Brawly gets Meditite and Makuhita gets a Citrus Berry. Meditite has both Light Screen and Reflect, increasing his team's defenses. Though now we get to a major problem with Brawly's team. His Pokemon are completely defenseless against ghost types. So if you play Ruby or Omega Ruby and catch Sableye in Granite Cave, Brawly might as well just hand you the gym badge. Now we head to Sinnoh to meet the first female fighting type specialist, the barefoot fighting genius, Maylene. We previously voted her girlfriend, Jo, as the toughest ice specialist. So can Maylene similarly match up? Her gym team in every game is Meditite, Machoke, and Lucario. In Diamond and Pearl, Meditite can hit surprisingly hard with pure power and can increase her attack further with Meditate. Machoke has good coverage with Rock Tomb, and with Foresight, he'll be able to hit ghost types with Brick Break. Finally, there's Lucario, whose moveset stays the same in Platinum. Force Palm can paralyze you, Metal Claw can increase Lucario's attack, and Drain Punch can heal Lucario alongside his Citrus Berry. Then in Platinum, Meditite and Machoke's movesets are improved. Meditite has Fake Out for some chip damage and Rock Tomb for coverage. Then Machoke has Focus Energy to increase his critical hit chance. Finally, we have Maylene's BDSP team. Like other gym leaders in BDSP, her team has increased IVs and EVs, on top of held items and improved movesets. Meditite has Light Screen while holding Light Clay, increasing Light Screen's duration from 5 turns to 8 turns. She can also lower your accuracy while increasing her attack and defense, which with Drain Punch can make Meditite annoying to take down. Machoke will hard punish any flying or psychic types you have, pairing an expert belt with Knockoff and Rock Tomb. Finally, there's Lucario, who's made to completely outlast you. Screech to lower your defense, Bulk Up to increase Lucario's stats, and a Big Root to increase how much Drain Punch heals Lucario. Overall, Maylene can cause a good amount of trouble. Her specialty in Drain Punch means you need a way to dish out big damage. Next, we enter Unova for the most disciplined fighting type specialist. The number 1 pupil of Older, Marshal. In Challenge Mode of Black 2 and White 2, he gives Conkeldurr a Flame Orb. The problem is that the developers forgot to switch Conkeldurr's ability, so instead of getting a Guts boost, Conkeldurr just gets the attack drop. But aside from that, Marshal's other teams are pretty solid. Marshal's team is Throw, Sock, Conkeldurr, and Mienshao, with Conkeldurr being Marshal's ace in the sequels. The moves are mostly the same between versions, but there are changes, such as giving Throw and Sock more accurate and overall better coverage. Mienshao got the stronger high jump kick over ordinary jump kick, and Conkeldurr has Bulk Up to increase his attack and defense. So overall, Marshal does seem to have the skills to make Alder proud, provided you aren't playing challenge mode. Now we get to Kalos for a real mega fighting type specialist, the evolution fighter Korrina, who is the first trainer we ever see Mega Evolve in the games, but not in her gym battle. In her gym battle, she has Mienfoo, Machoke, and Hawlucha. Korrina does have some tricks that should work in theory. Mienfoo has Fake Out to immediately get some chip damage on your team. Machoke has coverage with Rock Tomb, and Hawlucha has Hoenn Claws and the dual type move Flying Press. On top of that, Korrina specializes in Power Up Punch, a 40 power move that increases her team's attack. But an issue with Korrina is how defenseless she is against ghost types. We've had this before with trainers like Brawly, but with Korrina, you honestly have a few more options. But if you don't have a ghost type though, Korrina could cause trouble. Next we get to Alola for the oldest fighting type specialist, the all-out island kahuna of Melemele Island, Hala. Hala is both the kahuna of Melemele Island and an Elite Four member. In Sun and Moon, Hala's kahuna team is Mankey, Makuhita, and Crabrawler. Then in the Ultra games, Mankey is swapped out for Machop. Mankey, Makuhita, and Machop are pretty average for Pokemon this early, but if you land a critical hit on Mankey, their Anger Point ability will activate. And similarly, if you put a status on Machop, he'll get a Guts boost. And then of course Crabrawler has a Z move and Power Up Punch. Then in the Elite Four, Hala has an upgraded team: Hariyama, Primeape Machamp, Beware, Poliwrath, and Crabominable. In Sun and Moon, his team ain't all that great. Only Primeape has 4 moves, and they only have dark moves for coverage. But in the Ultra games, they have completed movesets and good coverage. Overall, Hala does prove that Tapu Koko was right to choose him. Now we enter Galar for the fighting specialist with a sweet tooth, the Galar Karate Prodigy, B. B was raised by stern and strict parents. This led to her repressing a lot of her emotions. The only people who seem to see B smile are her Pokemon, and judging by her league card, someone who's gotten pretty close to her. B's team is Hitmontop, Pangoro, Sirfetch'd, and Gigantamax Machamp. With Technician, Hitmontop could do good damage with Triple Kick. Pangoro and Sirfetch'd can power up with Work Up and Swords Dance. And then there's her ace Machamp, who will be Gigantamax. Gigantamaxed. After Gigantamaxing, Machamp's Revenge will become G-Max Chi Strike, which will increase Machamp's critical hit rate after using. Machamp can also use Max Guard, Max Darkness, and Max Strike, giving Machamp a way to protect herself and lower your special defense and speed. So overall, Bee's training really shows off in her gym battle. Finally, we end in Paldea for the most dedicated fighting type specialist. The boss of Team Star's fighting crew, Aerie, who's the first fighting specialist to not be a gym leader or in the league. Aerie's team is Toxicroak, Passimian, Lucario, Annihilape, and the Starmobile. Something to note is that Aerie's Pokemon are higher leveled than Grusha's, so you're actually intended to battle her after getting all the gym badges. Toxicroak has Sucker Punch to ward off psychic types, Passimian has Rock Tomb for coverage against flying types, Lucario is a heavy hitter with Aura Sphere, Dragon Pulse, and Dark Pulse. Annihilape has Rage Fist, Close Combat, Ice Punch, and Fire Punch. And the biggest heavy hitter is Aerie's Starmobile. The Starmobile's stamina will make physical attackers less effective, and Combat Torque has a 30% chance to paralyze its target. Aerie is the big sister of Team Star who wants to protect everyone. And with this team, she may just truly be the muscle they need. And with every fighting specialist covered, let's see who's the toughest. And at least for this video, we're discarding the usual tournament polls. My ranking is Bruno in 9th, Chuck in 8th, Korrina in 7th, Bee in 6th, Brawly in 5th, Marshal in 4th, Hala in 3rd, Aerie in 2nd, and Maylene in 1st. Of these trainers, Maylene's the one who's given me the most trouble. Aerie's also a surprising challenge with her Starmobile. Hala's Kahuna battle can give you trouble. Marshal has enough coverage to keep you on your toes. Brawly's Makuhita has that nasty bulk up arm thrust combo. And Bee's Machamp could set herself up to the point of no return. Korrina has Power Up Punch to increase her team's attack. And Walchuck's Gen 2 Poliwrath can be trouble in theory. How many times have you actually seen him use Mind Reader? And for Bruno, well, you know. And here are some rankings that you wonderful people had. And there you have it, folks. The toughest fighting type specialists in their initial battles. What did you think about these rankings? Which of them did you agree with the most? Which fighting specialist do you think is the toughest in their initial battles? Let me know in the comments below. And become a member if you're interested. It's only $2 a month. Have a nice day, you wonderful people. What if I was the fighting type champion? My lead would be Annihilape, warding off psychic types you may bring. Next would be Lucario, an iconic powerhouse of a fighting type. Afterwards would be Galar, offering a fighting type not weak to psychic. Next up is Infernape, once a truly notable fighting type in VGC. Poliwrath takes care of the ground weaknesses of this team. Finally would be my ace Kamoo, a fighting type pseudo-legendary.